Hello viewers, this is just after the European Grand Prix, the 2016 European Grand Prix at Baku. Rosberg has won this Grand Prix. It's pretty straightforward. He drove away from Vettel. He had a 16-second lead in 15 laps and pretty much consolidated that lead. And yeah, not much to say about that. He did a great job. He uh, He now leads the championship again by 24 points after leading just by 9 points after Montreal. And well, Vettel second. He did a good job there. Not much more that he was never able to challenge Rosberg, so was just the maximum he could get out of this. Perez, a really impressive uh, race from 7th on the grid to 3rd. I mean, he qualified second, so he had the speed in itself. And so to get to the podium, good job for him. Raikkonen lost 3rd place on the last lap to Perez, but he had a 5-second penalty from earlier in the race, so he would have lost that place anyway. So 4th was basically the maximum he could get. I mean, he was on a different strategy than Vettel. Vettel was on a 2-stop and Raikkonen was on a 1-stop, and well, he drove it home, and 4th was, I guess, the maximum possible. Behind that, Hamilton from 10th on the grid didn't do much passing. I mean, Kvyat and Verstappen, and after that, the rest was done by strategy. He kept driving longer and longer and went for the 1-stop strategy, I believe, and just drove that home. Had some issues during the race, which he didn't know how to solve, so he had them for a couple of laps, but it maybe cost him 1.5 seconds for each lap, so it wasn't really that much. I mean, he was still driving faster than most people behind him, so he pretty much couldn't attack the podium because of that, but he also didn't lose a place because of it, so I don't really think there was much more that he could do. I mean, to me, the lap times he drove were kind of the same that he would drive that when he was basically charging up his batteries and stuff. So I don't, I don't. Maybe there wasn't even an issue, but I think there was. I mean, else there would be no reason to complain about it on the radio, I guess. So let's assume there was a problem, but yeah, it wasn't really that bad lap times that he drove, despite the issues that he had. Bottas behind that, clean race, 6th. Yeah, good. Nothing much to add to that. I mean, Williams' strategy was really good here. Behind that, both Red Bulls, Ricciardo, Verstappen. I really don't get the strategy call from Red Bull at this race. Early first stop, lap 6, 7, putting both cars in traffic. They have to overtake them. It costs them time. Yes, they can easily do that on a long straight, but the other half lap they're stuck behind the cars. And yeah, I mean, Verstappen, even after overtaking one driver, he was pretty much he was straight behind Wehrlein for P8 at the time. That was after his first stop, and or P9, but he couldn't straight away overtake Wehrlein, even though he had DRS from the other driver, and Wehrlein didn't. So he was one lap stuck behind Wehrlein, and he needed to wait till the long straight to overtake Wehrlein. Or I think that it would have been better for Verstappen's race if he could have overtaken Wehrlein straight away again. But yeah, not much to do about that. I mean, Wehrlein's race was really going great actually till he lost his brakes basically. um, as for other stuff, yeah, I mean, halfway through the race, Verstappen had like a 15-second gap to Ricciardo, and on that last stint of 33 laps, Verstappen closed the gap to 1.4 seconds, overtaking Massa and Hülkenberg. Ricciardo was stuck behind Hülkenberg for quite a while, so I think that's impressive from Verstappen. But I think the strategy, the strategy from Red Bull, I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, if they drove a bit longer on their first stint, and then also on their second stint, then they wouldn't have had the traffic that they had, so they could had a lot more clean air, could have driven faster. And I think for Ricciardo, P5 would have been a reasonable uh, target to actually have been able to achieve that today, and P7 is then disappointing. Verstappen, I don't know, would have been a close fight with Bottas maybe for P7, but not much more to it. I mean, there there was a lot of expectations for safety cars. First two safety cars, none were there, so I think that was pretty much it. Um, what else can I say? Yeah, behind Hulkenberg in ninth is pretty good actually, but it's I guess it's kind of disappointing because his teammate is on the podium, so he might think that there was more to be achieved this weekend. But still, it's points for Hulkenberg, so that's still good. And 10th Massa, I'd say meh. I mean, Bottas had a clean race and just drove well to P6, and I think Massa should have been able to follow. Yeah, should have been able to follow Bottas at least, and he wasn't. He was a lot slower. I think at the end he also had braking problems. So yeah, it just wasn't there. I mean, he scored 1 point. Frankly, I think that he doesn't really care about that. And just like, well, this wasn't the best race of his season. Then, yeah, that was pretty much for all the top 10 other drivers that stood out. Well, Button, pretty good from P19 to P11, so he did well. He overtook Alonso, and Alonso eventually didn't finish the race. Um, anything other? Nasser also being able to follow Button and to P12 in the Sauber. I think that's actually pretty impressive considering Sauber basically has dropped to the back of the field, and then just to do this race from Nasser, I find it impressive. Um, I mean, for both Sauber drivers, I hope that there will be some upgrades that they can at least keep challenging for maybe that 1 point position when two or three drivers don't finish from the front runners that usually do finish, because that's when they have a shot at getting a point. But yeah, as for other drivers, well, I mean, Arianto basically blew his good qualifying in on lap 1, and didn't really see what happened, but just disappointing. I mean, you have such a good qualifying, and then it's gone. I mean, Wehrlein drove into 8th at a certain point, or maybe even 7th. Nah, I think 8th, and then that Haryanto could have driven there as well. I think so. I mean, it's certainly, I guess it's a kind of a highlight to be able to drive in some good point scoring position, even though it's because others have stopped and you have not, or they have not. But still, I mean, most tracks they don't even manage to do that. but now I think that's pretty good. And Verline showed that he wanted even to defend those positions. So I mean that's good. I mean it's showing that he's there and he wants to fight for places, and I like that. I mean, yes, you could say like, well, he's holding them up, but he's in that position and he has the right to do so. So I think that's a good thing. Other things that, well, yeah, it was just an uneventful race. Not much happened. I think Red Bull didn't have the right strategy. Williams with Bottas had. Perez did a great race. Rosberg just led and just drove the car home pretty much. um, is there a driver of the day for me? Well, not much happened. I mean, no, I mean, really not much happened. I can't really say that I find any. Maybe then Perez because he got to the podium. I mean, that's that's the biggest. I think that's a big achievement. I mean, Raikkonen also could have been able to keep clear of Perez maybe if he could have been driving a little bit longer in front of Vettel. But yeah, I mean, he was slowly holding Vettel up, so I get the call from Ferrari, and they were definitely right to do so. But maybe if Raikkonen was a little bit faster before that, who knows? But yeah, that's all in hindsight and stuff. It was just an uneventful race. Hopefully better next year. I mean, we're still going to be driving here next year and the year after that. So yeah, not much to add about that. Next race, 2 weeks time, Austria. I find it a fun track. Just like only 9 corners. Uh, some straights in between. I mean, I like especially from corner 1 to corner 2. That is always a good place where you see some overtaking happening. Also able from corner 2 to corner 3, but it's usually a bit less because from corner 1 to corner 2, then it ends uphill, so you can brake late, and in general that goes well. And corner 3 is you brake downhill, and it's a little bit harder. And it's also a less tight corner there, so I guess it's a little bit harder to overtake there. But we'll see. I mean, we'll go from a lap time from 1:46 here to a lap time of 1 minute 10 in Austria. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Anyways, that was it for this week. And yeah, see you all in 2 weeks' time.